Welcome back. My name is Valeria Lipovetsky, and you are listening to Not Alone podcast. This episode, I'm so excited to sit down with my girl Tinx, who is known to be the big sister of TikTok. TikTok big sister, social media big sister, I don't know. The girl just popped off during pandemic and honestly helped us all get through it with some humor, with some hard truths about dating, about just being a 30-something-year-old. Actually, she's my age now, 33. She's also a podcast host of It's Me Tinx and a best-selling author. We covered everything to do with dating. I really wanted to understand her take on a few of the dating trends that I've been seeing. But before we dive into the episode, I would appreciate it if you could rate and review the podcast on the platform you are listening on. And it really helps us out and allows us to keep making this podcast. And don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube if you are watching here. And now let's get into it. Okay, Tinx, did you know that we have the same birthday?
We do?
September 19.
Okay, did you know that it's the second most common birthday in the world? Terrible news. I know. I'm sorry to break it to you, but I recently learned that and it really upset me because we are obviously rare and special. Yeah. And turns out we're not. We have the second most common birthday.
What?
Which it makes sense because it's like 9 months from like the holiday period. You know, everybody's getting busy around that time. It does make a lot of sense, but...
How many people do you know with that birthday?
Like 2 or 3.
Yeah, you're my second.
Yeah.
Shit.
But it's but I love my birthday. Like, I think it's beautiful. And I'm 19th of September, 1990. So it's like all 9. So it's like a special number for me. I love it. I love September. I love the fall. I couldn't have asked for a better birthday. I really, really love being born in the fall.
I mean, same. I need to kind of digest the news that it's the second most.
I know you're in shock right now.
That's fine. But yeah, okay, cool. Well, I'll always remember you. I'll think of you now on my birthday.
Yeah.
And my other friend, Max, who also has a birthday. But the reason why I wanted to have you here today because I've been getting served, and I don't know why, because I've been married for like 12 years, but I've been getting served so much dating content on TikTok.
Yeah. There's a lot.
My head is spinning. I feel like I have no idea what's going on. I don't know how to navigate it when it comes to my community, which is out to me being like, hey, how should I behave?
Right.
Because it looks like it's the Wild West out there in the dating world.
It definitely is the Wild West. We are living in unprecedented dating times. It's truly wild. I think with the apps, everything has changed so much. And I don't think that we've caught up socially to the apps in the sense that we have all this technology, we have all these apps to use for dating that are supposed to make our dating life easier. But I don't think that our species has caught up yet. And we're still confused and a little overwhelmed by it, even though we're doing it. My take is that it's still kind of sensory overload for us, and that's why we're struggling. And a lot of us who are dating right now are millennials. And so we grew up in a time when you weren't attached to your phone all the time. We grew up when we were watching, the 90s rom-coms where everything was very traditional. And then there was this huge paradigm shift. So I think it's especially difficult for millennials to date. And I talk about it a lot.
I don't know. I'm looking at the things that are out there in terms of theories and concepts. Like there's so much to retain and remember.
Yeah.
And it's one thing millennial dating now. I feel like it is a difficult place to be in because you remember life before the phone.
Exactly.
But Gen Z is actually who I'm scared of the most.
They scare me a lot. They really, really frighten me. I don't understand them. I don't understand what they like. They change their mind every 5 seconds. I'm scared of them is the best way to put it.
I'm going to share with you because I I collected these theories and concepts that I want us to break down.
Okay.
Because I can't do it on my own. I need help. Because are you actively dating? Are you in the...
Yeah, I'm actively dating. I talk about dating a lot with my community. I wouldn't call myself an expert at all. I just talk about what's helped me because I think that's like the most human thing that you can do is like tell someone your experience, why it went well, why it went badly, and hopefully they can learn from your mistakes. I don't know if I really believe in all these like dating experts who are like, I'm a dating expert. I'm like, okay.
What does that even mean?
What does that even mean? For me, I just try to think about it like I'm talking to my group of friends, and I really do view my community of followers like my group of friends. And I just try to tell them like, hey, this is why it was really hard for me in my 20s. Like, don't do that or whatever. And we kind of share stories, and I share theories. Like for me, having a little theory or a little trick in your mind, it makes it more fun and like lighthearted versus just being like, what the hell is going on with all this?
Yeah.
So that's kind of my.
And you wrote a book, The Shift. I know that came out.
That came out last year.
Yeah.
And that was kind of, again, I wrote the book that I needed in my 20s. I just needed someone to say, stop chasing boys, focus on yourself. The most important thing you can do in dating is to know your worth, in my opinion, especially so important for women. And that was a huge mistake in my 20s where I just didn't even think about who I was or what I deserve or even what I liked. And then I was chasing all these guys and wondering why it wasn't working out. And it was because I didn't know who I was. And I was just desperate for the validation, the label of a boyfriend, but I didn't even really like these people. So that was an amazing experience. And yeah, it's been really cool to see the response.
Okay, so The Shift was shared with your community based on the shift that you had within yourself.
Yes.
I love that. There's this specific woman online. I don't know if you heard of her, Shira7.
Oh, yes, I do.
The Sprinkle?
Yes, I love her.
Okay, so
she's obviously extreme.
But can you, and I'll tell you what scares me about the things that she shares. I feel like it creates a larger distance between men and women.
I know what you mean. And I think about that a lot in terms of TikTok. And I think about that in terms of my content and the responsibility I have because I have a platform. And although I do feel like, there's a lot of issues with straight men and how they carry themselves, I'd never want to be part of the like across the board, like because I don't think it's productive. Because like at the end of the day, I date straight men, so like I'm gonna have to end up with one, hopefully, eventually. So I'm not a negative person. I try to be very optimistic. So for me, I don't think that narrative, although it can be very funny sometimes, is super helpful. That having been said, I think Sprinkle Lady is so funny, and I think that I don't know, I kind of give her a pass. She's really funny. So for anybody who's listening who doesn't know who she is, she basically will say these really funny things. She'll go on live and she'll say, okay, for example, she'll be like, what if my body, she'll be reading a question from a audience member and she'll say, what if my body doesn't look perfect? What if, I have stretch marks? What if my boobs are saggy? And then she'll be like, who men like? They'll go with men if they go to jail. Like that's like a thing she said. She'll be like, they'll go in prison and they'll be with a man within 1 month. So don't worry about it.
I am so excited to talk about today's sponsor, Holistic Reading. Now, I'm pretty open about the fact that I'm a Virgo and hit most of the Virgo characteristics, like being a perfectionist, often stubborn. Do I overthink a lot? Absolutely. But I have to say, knowing all of this and wanting to know more is actually very helpful for me. I feel like I can navigate through life knowing more information beyond the surface level, So imagine having a new tool that not only helps you understand yourself on a deeper level with astrology, numerology, and human design, but also guides you towards your full potential. This is my love language. Holistic Reading is a personalized written report based on your unique birth data that dives into your core personality, strength, challenges, opportunities for growth, and energies that influenced your future. So if you want to experience self-discovery and personal development and get some more help to navigate relationship, career, improve your well-being, and overall live a more purposeful and fulfilling life, check out Holistic Reading. I've experienced it for myself, and let me tell you, it is truly a game changer. The insights were incredibly spot on, and I'm going to share with you a little paragraph from my report. Your journey is one of both inner exploration and outer expression. Truly. You're drawn to delve deep into life's mysteries to understand the hidden patterns that shape our world. This quest for knowledge is not just for personal education, but to share your insights with others with your natural ability to communicate complex ideas. I mean, this is what I do, you know? The best part, it's not just about getting insights, it's also about taking action. The report provides personalized suggestions to help you turn these insights into results. The best part is that they have given me an exclusive offer for a free superpowers report. This report, based on your unique birth data, unveils 3 of your most extraordinary innate strengths. So you can go to superpowers.report/Valeria to sign up for your free superpower report. That's superpowers.report/Valeria. Enjoy.
Or like she'll say a lot of things about their bank account, just like really funny
So she
stuff.
wrote a book.
She wrote a full book?
That's what I'm trying to tell you,
Oof.
because you found her on TikTok as like a funny lady.
Yeah.
This woman is getting like a status like no other right now by a lot of young
Wow.
girls.
Okay.
So she wrote a book, How to Date a Provider and Avoid a Dusty.
Yeah. I mean, and look, she has a point. It's fair. I do find her very funny, and I think there's a lot of truth. I think it's like the thing is there's such an insane imbalance between men and women in society that I think it's fine to have these people who are a little bit, on the extreme because they help to restore the balance. Like, I don't know if I don't think that we'll ever be able to restore equality and the balance between men and women, but like, I think it's fine.
think we could.
You do?
Yeah. I think that right now and understandably so, we kind of went into extreme, or at least that's what my algorithm is serving me. But we're in this extreme where men are dispensable, we can do it all our own and all that thing, which is, again, great because we kind of needed to raise ourselves up to the same, standard. But now it's time to love each other again because one cannot exist without the other. That makes sense. Which right now the notion I feel like online is that one can exist without the other.
Definitely the statistics are reflecting that. I mean, there's a record number of single women over 30. People are having fewer and fewer children. More single women in the United States own homes than single men. I'm very obsessed with Professor Scott Galloway. He's really interesting on this subject. He talks a lot about like the loneliness epidemic of men and how basically like, I don't mean this as a joke, but like men are in their flop era, like for real.
Yeah.
But I think what I like about Professor Galloway's approach on all of this is that he says like this is a society-wide problem. Like we shouldn't be like, oh, haha, like men are getting theirs now because it's going to cause problems down the line in like multiple ways, like some of which are really dark for our society.
But that's why I wanted to have this conversation because aside from dating advice, and obviously I have a lot of things that I want to go through and some of them are funny and lighthearted, but the bigger picture here is how do we start having different conversations? Because I feel like we kind of got to a bit of a plateau with this like them versus us type of thing. Yeah. And it's time to kind of change the narrative. I'm also speaking as a mother of 3 boys, right? Like I don't want them to grow up in a society where they are just, not really taking into consideration.
Totally. I think a lot of it actually I think that if we hope to see a positive change, a lot of it will surprise, surprise, fall on women in the sense of the mothers of boys.
Yeah.
And it's like always down to women to fix this problems that men have created. But I do think that that's like where we have a big opportunity is to raise the next generation of men kind of how we see fit. And I was listening to this other podcast the other day that was really interesting, the Ezra Klein show. And he was talking about how like, even if you look at how friendship is celebrated or how friendship is talked about between little boys and little girls. Like, think about it. Little girls, like, they have friendship bracelets, they have best friends, like, they have little necklaces that match each other, they wear matching, like, they have sleepover, like, everything is so, it's just like, oh, you guys are best friends. Whereas with boys, that same close friendship is not fostered. So little boys don't learn to have friendships as easily in the same way as little girls do. And so then that furthers this kind of trope we have in society where a lot of men find it difficult to go to their guy friends when they're feeling a problem inside, the emotion. And it's a lot of it is how we raise kids. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. I think that I'm like I said, I'm an optimist, and I think that we can collectively all raise a generation of really wonderful, thoughtful boys and men, and that, we can get on the right track.
How do you feel like you're navigating the dating scene now versus how you did even a few years back, just from the information you gathered? Because you're right now sitting and talking about, you listening to Professor Galloway speaking of like men loneliness. Like, did it change the way you even go about?
I think yes. I mean, I think that there's every year that you grow older and you're dating, you know more about yourself and you know more about the world. So that's obviously a positive. So I think that I'm just dating from a more informed place now. And, I think I just know what I like more. So it's easier and kind of can have more fun in the meantime. And
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Give online therapy a try at betterhelp.com/notalone and get on your way to being your best self. Getting professional help from the right therapist allows you to take time to better your life. We all take pride in working hard to keep our bodies healthy, eat the right food, exercise daily, take vitamins, but I feel like we're not taught to see our mental health as something that needs similar care and attention. The idea behind this podcast, Not Alone, is about sharing all the relatable issues we experience but don't often have the opportunity or feel comfortable enough to talk about. You can take it a step further with BetterHelp. Getting professional help from the right therapist allows you to take time to better your life. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, so it's designed to be convenient, flexible, and to suit your schedule. It's really easy to get on it. All you need to do is fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional cost, which is a huge benefit compared to in-person sessions. And I can relate to the feeling of feeling apprehensive whenever you think about starting therapy. That being said, I often talk about leaning into the uncomfortable feeling and following it. And to me, it's usually an indication of something and somewhere I need to explore more. Learn to make time for what makes you happy with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/notalone today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/notalone. So red flags. Are you still like big into the red flags? I feel like there was a time where I just felt like you breathe the wrong way, red flag.
I know. And I think it's important to know the difference between a red flag and an ick. Like a red flag is something that's actually bad. He's rude to the wait staff or whatever. An ick is like, okay, he wears ugly shorts. Well, you can fix that. Like, it's fine. You know what I mean?
Or you can't.
And that's okay.
You just have to be okay with that.
And you have to be okay with it. Or dump him. Like, that's okay too. It's your life. Like, do what you want. There's just so much discourse about dating, as you said at the top of the podcast. There's just so much out there. Sometimes I do worry that we have like sensory overload where we've heard so many, kind of like what you're saying, like so many theories and we're talking about red flags every day. And at the end of the day, something I always tell my followers is like, it's how the other person makes you feel. Like, throw it out the window, throw all of that stuff. Like, how do you feel when you're with them and how do you feel when you're without them? Because that's truly all that matters. Do you feel happy? Do you feel like yourself? Do you feel relaxed and comfortable when you're on a date with them? And then when you leave them, do you feel anxious that they're not going to text you? Do you feel scared that it's over? Do you feel nervous? Or do you feel like calm, comfortable? You know that you're going to see them again. You're excited to do that. Like at the end of the day, that's what it boils down to.
Well, to your point, there is a sensory overload. And this is why I wanted to talk to you, because it's like I have a sensory overload. I'm not
And you're
even
married.
dating.
Yes.
I'm just in the, I have the privilege of sitting in the comfort of my home, with my husband. And I'm just like, I don't even know how to navigate this.
Yeah.
So I want to go back to Shira 7 because there's a few things that I collected that I'm like, I want to hear your opinion. Okay, so she said, don't go out in a group of girls, but by yourself if you want to pick up a man.
I would say go out with one friend because like I don't know about other people. I will have a meal at a bar by myself if I'm traveling or whatnot, but it's not my favorite thing to do. I'm not one of those people who's like, I'm gonna like, if I'm going out to lunch, fine, it's great, fine. But I'm not gonna like go out by myself.
Right. But even that, let's say lunch at the bar, have you noticed if you getting hit on more when you're sitting by yourself for lunch than when you're out with a group of girls?
Definitely, but I think you need a buddy, make it more fun. It's like intimidating to go out by yourself. I think what I always say is if you're in a group, they can't come up to you. That's so intimidating. Like even if you don't think that your friend group is intimidating, it is to go up to a group of girls. I always say like take your girlfriend, go to a place that you would like to be taken to. So let's say you lived in LA and you would love to be taken on a date to like Wally's, say. Go with one girlfriend, sit at the bar at Wally's. Don't sit like this, like hunched over the bar, not looking out, like turn
Body
around,
language
like
is everything.
sit the other way on the stool, like be smiling, be having open eye contact with people. And that is how you meet people.
Do you flirt?
Okay. My friends say that I'm like a really bad flirt because I'm just like, I'm not flirty. I think I'm flirty. I was raised in England. So I feel like sometimes I'm more kind of like colder than I don't know, with guys at least, or I'll be like sarcastic.
So in your head you're flirting, but in reality,
and I flirt a lot by being sarcastic and kind of like trying to initiate banter, but that's type of play is kind of offensive to some American people. So I sound I'm American too. So it's like, they don't know. I'm like, oh, do you always wear that shirt? And they're like, yeah, this is my favorite shirt. And I'm like, oh, okay, I was trying to flirt. Sorry. So I don't know, but I am flirty. Like I'll go up to guys. I have no issue being like, hey, like what's going on?
That used to be, I remember when I was talking to Gary, my husband, about just like how men used to pick up girls. And I'm sure it's still around. The idea of like, you call it sarcasm, but it would kind of be an insult in a way.
Totally.
Right? So you start talking to a girl and you kind of insult her, especially if she's this beautiful girl, because you kind of get
of course. Yeah.
So it's kind of
like that. I also, which I'm trying to change, but I don't know how. I also have a lot of masculine energy. Like, how I'm very in my masculine, which I hate, but it's just like who I am. So I think maybe that's also part of it where I'll like, I don't know.
There's the dominant energy.
I'm very dominant. Yeah.
So how are you trying to change that?
I mean, I don't know. I'm like open to suggestions if anybody has any, because I know that that's like, you're supposed to kind of let the guy feel like be in the masculine. And also I've spoken to a lot of women who told me like, oh, I used to be in my masculine energy and relationships that didn't work out. And then I like stepped into my feminine energy, and not only was it like more comfortable, but it was relaxing. And I think it does sound relaxing because I am so dominant, and I wish I wasn't. Like I wish someone would just like plan everything and like do it for me. But even in my friend group, I'm like really, I'm the organizer. I'm the person who, does everything. So it's just like, I don't know. So again, I'm very open to tips.
I feel like with feminine energy, I think that it's very difficult to balance as a single woman today, especially someone that is career driven and wants to do all these things. I think that you'll have and feel like you have more space when you'll have, that man that will provide you.
Totally. Because now I'm like, I am the man of the house. I do
everything.
Choice. Yeah. So, So it's like that combined with the fact that I'm super ambitious, and I'm like, and also I think that it's tough because when you're very satisfied as a single person. Like, I'm very into gratitude. And for me, like, every day that I wake up, I'm like, I'm alive, and that's a blessing. So I love my life. I feel very grateful for it. I feel very happy every day. I don't have that feeling of like, I need this. Like, even though I want it, of course I want to be in love. Of course I want to find that. I'm not one of those girls who mopes and cries about like being single at all.
Are you ever worried you're just kind of be okay with this? Like, this is great. I don't need anyone? Because I feel like it's a fine line, right?
It's a fine line. It's a fine line. I don't know. I mean, if I'm okay with it, then I'm okay with it. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So, I mean, for now, I definitely want to be in love, and like, I hope that happens. But I also think that, you know, you can't waste your entire life just like waiting for things to happen. And the truth of the matter is, most people end up with someone. Like, a lot of my followers are like, what if I die alone? And I'm like, if you actually never meet anybody that you get along with, you better buy a lottery ticket, because that's rare as hell that you go through your entire life and you never find someone. Most people end up with someone. Yeah, sure. The trend is looking like people are meeting that person later and later, but that's just the way that society is moving. It's not a personal thing.
Right.
So I don't know, like, I'm really not worried about it. Like, I think it will happen. And if it doesn't, well, then I don't want to have wasted like the next 10 years being sad. Do you know what I mean? Like, either I'll meet the love of my life or I won't.
While doing your thing, or you won't.
Or I won't, but I don't want to spend this time being sad, because like, life is a gift.
I kind of like the idea of just like, look at statistics that will comfort you enough. Because I think Professor Galloway wrote a book, something about, honestly, it was a compilation of all these statistics just to show how good things are. Or maybe it wasn't him.
I know what you're talking about. I don't know if it was him, but I do know what you're talking about.
It wasn't him, you're right.
I know what you're talking about.
Just like actually collect the data and showcasing that everything that we think is happening and it's the end of the world, actually the data shows otherwise.
Exactly.
So I'm going to find this book and link it, because I think it's important for all of us.
No, I agree.
To look into that. If a man looks at another woman, look at an expensive car, and make the man feel monetarily inadequate.
Yeah. It's so funny. She's so hilarious. I think it's like, I'm torn. I'm torn, because on the one hand, I'm like, you know, women from the dawn of time have dealt with the most horrendous stuff from men. From the dawn of time, we have been imprisoned, used, you know, child bride. Like, there's like a million things that women have dealt with. You know, we've had to have 19 kids. Like, we've just like throughout the ages, we have dealt with endless shit, and we still are today. So on the one hand, I'm like, yeah, like, if this is the one area where we can poke fun a little, we should. On the other hand, I'm like, it's not productive. If you know what I mean. Like,
it feels a bit petty. And I think that also,
to me, the more powerful thing is like, if a guy is looking at other women to make you feel uncomfortable, leave.
Yeah.
Know your worth and leave. Like, to me, that's my like path. That's what I would do. I don't believe in games, and I don't really believe in like, oh, tit for tat, like, let's hurt each other. If your man is looking at other women consistently, get the hell out.
Read the room.
That's simple.
And leave it.
And yeah.
I love that. Okay, this is actually one that's common, and I think I've said it before as well. If you want a good marriage/relationship, he has to love you more.
I believe that.
I believe that too. But I don't know if it's something that just like my mother instilled in me from, you know, the early years. But why do you think that's true?
All of my relationships that have been really good, he's liked me more. And I think in cis-het relationships, that's just how it should work. I don't have a good explanation other than that. Anecdotally, that's what I see.
So I have a theory.
Okay.
That I feel like for women, because we are just naturally more nurturing and we're loyal, it's for us, like when we commit, we commit. For a man, unless they're like all in, there's always,
a little bit,
1 foot out the door kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is, evolution, I don't know what it is. But I just feel like for women, it's easier to just very much commit and stay.
I hear that. Yeah.
And I remember when I shared it in a few episodes ago, and Gary was like a little hurt, and I said, "Well, babe, it's just that's the truth. You just love me a little bit more. That's good.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah,
because you should always feel like the prize, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Is that the theory of like the black cat and the golden retriever?
I think that's like, I'm kind of over that theory. I don't
That's
love
what
it.
I'm talking about, though.
I think that's like,
we're pushing it with this one.
Yeah, and everyone being like, I love my golden retriever boyfriend. Like, we're at the point where we're like, talk about offensive. We are now relating men to like big dumb dogs. Like, sorry, golden retrievers aren't dumb, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that one's not so helpful to me.
So, but that's, I guess, where I'm trying to understand, like, what's the appeal in pop culture in general for us to come up with all these?
I mean, as someone who's created a lot of theories that like have resonated and gone viral online, I do think that there can be some helpful ones, but I think that like with anything now, people just see that they like to go viral, that these theories go viral because people like to discuss them. I just like think black cat and golden retriever is dumb, and like we've gone, I don't like. And I saw this one where this girl was like posting all these celebrities with like saying black cat and golden retriever. And I'm like, you don't know what they're like. Like, you've never met these people. Stop saying that this man is like a black cat. Like, you don't know what he's like. Come on.
One photo where he looks sideways
where he's like, and I'm like, okay, whatever. But so, and again, not to like make it all about me and narcissist influencer, but all my theories are based on like realities that have been in my life that I've like gathered information, dating, my friends dating, and I have like, stories about it. So I'm speaking from experience, not from like looking at a picture of a celebrity.
Women should start marrying just for money again.
I don't know. They say if you marry for money, you pay the rest of your life.
Yeah, golden cage.
I don't know. I mean, I think it depends like what your situation is. Let me put it this way. I don't disrespect anybody who marries for money. Like, you do you. If that's what's important to you and you want to and you need to and you find a situation that works for you, you go for it. I don't judge about that stuff. I couldn't because like I'm very picky about like the vibe. So but that's different. I'm financially independent. So like I don't need to. Someone else might want to. And that's okay. I think you have to work out what your priorities are in life.
Speaking of money, like where do you kind of stand when it comes to equality in relationship?
So if it's a cis hetero man and woman, the man should always pay for the first date. Like without a shadow of a doubt. And
absolutely.
And like for many dates after that until they're like a thing, and then the woman can be like, you know what, I got this one, like I can get this. The financial inequality in America is so insane. Women make, I think it's 76 cents on the dollar of every man. Black women make 62 cents on the dollar of every man. And then we layer on the cost of period products, we layer on the cost of contraception, which always falls on women. We layer on the cost of the societal norms of what we have to look like, and the laser and the, laser hair removal and the waxes and the hair and the nails and the makeup and the clothes and the body dysmorphia that we all carry with us for our entire lives. Like
we're carrying industries.
We're carrying industries on that are built off of our farmed insecurities. And I don't care. Like
I always talk about the pink tax. And I think that a lot of men are not aware of the pink tax because, even the day-to-day products, it can be the same product in a different color or targeted for women. We pay more for it.
We pay more.
So, but it's funny because I made this video where I wrote why men should pay on a first date, and I was putting my makeup on, getting ready, and I would like pop the price.
I saw that. I thought that
So the past week it landed on the wrong side of the internet.
Oh, what did people say? You picked too expensive products.
Well, I feel like men got really salty, and I hate that because First of all, I looked at it from not only from a place of like, oh, you guys are being petty. I understand that, it's triggering them. And I'm asking myself, why is it triggering you? There's a whole, lot under that as well. But it was very interesting to see how many men took like real offense to it.
Personal offense to it. I know. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to defend men because they're so sensitive and they do so much wrong.
But I wonder, is it because they now feel that they're only valued based on kind of their financials?
Well, so that's what Scott Galloway says also, as you know. He says that women are valued based on their marital status and men are valued based on their financial status. So if you have like a 33-year-old, I'm 33, like 33-year-old woman who's like killing it, but she's unmarried, it's like, oh, what's wrong with her? And no one's like, oh my God, she's absolutely killing it. Like she owns a home, like da-da-da-da. If a guy is 33, he's killing it financially, they're like, oh my God, what a catch. Like he's on a meteoric rise. Like can't wait to see what he does next. And it's just like, we value them differently. But what Professor Galloway also says is, yes, that's all connected to it is like the current flop in men is because they're feeling like, oh my God, we're only measured on our financials, and men are actually making less and less money because of a bunch of reasons. So it's kind of compounding on itself to be that they're feeling terrible about themselves. And at the same time, women are looking up and going, oh, wait, no, like you do need to pay for me. Like you do need to come correct. You do need to, pay for my Uber and whatnot. So yeah, interesting times.
I feel like it's been a big kind of shift for men to digest. I think, listen, I feel like as humans in general, it's very difficult for us to process change, but also the rapid change that happened in the past few years, 10 years even, with technology and mass communication, that's a whole other level.
It is. It truly is.
Oh my God. Okay, well, where do you stand with the whole trend, which I find it very interesting, the whole trad wife?
I'm not that like into that conversation, as in I haven't like dug that deep. I love Nora Smith. I know that she, people think she's this and that, but I love her videos, so I don't know.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I do think it's interesting how every time there's like, so what's the criticism? People think that they're reinforcing negative gender stereotypes or something?
So I think that, first of all, Nara to me it's interesting that people are putting her in that trad wife thing, because trad wife is not someone who has her own career in building her own personal brand.
She has a career and she has a
So I think the fact that she shows up on the internet, she obviously picked up like amazing steam in the last couple of months, and I'm so happy to see her, because to me she's bringing forward kind of the forgotten art of being a homemaker. Like that's a beautiful thing. We haven't seen it, and we kind of need it after the girl boss era situation.
Well, I think to me the point of all of my feminism is that so that women can have the choice to do whatever they want. And if you want to stay home and have 3 kids and make them marshmallows from scratch, you do that, and that's beautiful
teach me while you
and
do that.
fine, and teach me, like that's the point. And what I find frustrating about so much of the discourse online is it's always comes down to attacking women. Like whatever it is, like at its core, somehow women are to blame. And I'm like, yes, is there an interesting discussion to be had about stay-at-home moms in the year 2024? Sure, maybe. But also, she's just a really good content creator. Like that's it. She's just a really incredible recipe developer. She edits her videos beautifully. She's stunning. Her family is stunning. I'm kind of like with this one, I'm like, you're reaching. Like you're really, really reaching. This isn't some crazy trend you need to like analyze to death. This is just like a stunning model mom who's amazing at this stuff and who puts out great videos. Like, don't overcomplicate it.
I think for women, and I don't know when we're going to shed that, but it's like we feel attacked either way. Yeah. And I don't know if that's a learned behavior as well because of years of being attacked. So I feel like a lot of these things online, the reason why it triggers these responses is because it's like, oh, now you're just showing me that I'm not good enough again.
Totally. But again, I think that what you said is right. It's like, it's all if you have a really strong reaction to someone else doing something, that's because it's triggering something in you. Like if someone says, I don't want to have kids, and you have a meltdown, that's because it's triggering something in you about your relationship, whether you have children or don't. Like that's what it is. It's like the most comfortable, settled people they're like, wow, that's cool that you're doing that. That's great. Or, oh, cool. Like it doesn't bother them because it doesn't have anything to do with them or their perception of themselves.
I think always when you feel a strong emotion, I think that's a signal to turn off your phone.
1,000%.
Put it down.
People get
Go for a walk.
heated. Yeah. Yes. Agree. 1,000%.
Did you have to learn that yourself? Because I mean, you've been on social media for how long have you been?
4 years.
4 years. Did you have a learning kind of curve when it comes to knowing when to pull away?
And now I'm very like, I just need to put it down. And like, I thought I would always be so, I mean, I'm addicted to my phone. We all are, but I'm not addicted to it in the way that I used to be, where I'm like always in the depths of it. I'm like, I just kind of like, I'd rather be having a glass of wine with my friends, honestly.
I feel like that's the evolution.
Exactly. You have to like go into the belly of the beast, and then you come out and you're like, that's not that fun. And here's something that really like helped me with my phone addiction. I'm very into like slowing down time and memories and like creating experiences with my friends. You never remember times when you're on your phone. So I know sometimes like internally I would come home and say, I just want to relax so I'm just going to go on my phone. Those 2 hours are just gone. I don't remember anything about them. Like I think that I'm relaxing when I'm scrolling, but I don't even remember what I saw. You know what I mean? Whereas if you go for a walk with a friend, or even if you like read a book, you remember those 2 hours, if that makes sense. I don't know. That really helped me.
It makes total sense. I was actually, I saw a video or read something. I don't remember anymore. You see, you don't remember. It was on my phone. And there was a girl that was mentioning how this whole idea of documenting your life, I feel like we're reaching a place of a burnout.
Totally.
Because it started as this wonderful, you romanticize your life, collect memories, but now we're not living those moments. We're just documenting them.
Totally. And I've had moments where I'm like, oh my God, I don't have anything to post today. Like I haven't done enough. I haven't taken enough photos. And I'm like, because I was living like now I find that I'm kind of in a different era where I'm like, I don't really take my phone out at parties anymore because I want to be present and enjoy it. I don't want to take photos of the concert. And that changed because when I first started social media, I was like, I need to take 700 photos of the concert, of like the Diet Coke I'm having at the concert, my outfit, And I'm like, I want to like experience it, and that's it.
There's going to be a time, and I feel like it's already happening, where we're going back to flip phones.
I would love that. I really would.
That was a good time.
It was a good time.
Okay, one theory that I've read that was very interesting to me is the theory that romantic love was invented by lower status men for lower status men, so they'd be able to compete with high status men for women.
Whoa, that's crazy. I have never heard that, and I don't agree at all.
Isn't it so sad though that we're taking romance back to like,
that's so sad. I don't agree at all. That's there's sonnets that are from hundreds of years ago. There's like, people used to do stuff all the time for love. Look at Henry VIII. He had 6 wives. Well, I guess that's a really bad example because he killed half of them. But people have been doing stuff for love for centuries, and I believe in love. So
I feel like we need to make love great again.
Yeah.
How do you recommend do that?
I don't know. I don't disagree with you. I think it's just gotten so hard for people, and people are like worn down by the whole experience. I always try to get my followers to like have fun with it again, because I think, I think we went through this era in the 2000s where they made trying to find a husband like a chore. All the articles in the magazines were like 50 ways you can blow him so he'll propose by Christmas. And it's like, I don't want that. Like, I don't need a listicle, like that. But I think for me, I'm always telling them, not every date is a husband interview. You just have fun, see who you feel good around, and like try not to take it so seriously, which is difficult because if you're stressed about this stuff, it's really difficult. And I understand that. But in my opinion, you can't waste your life just like trying to find a husband. And you have a better result when you're happy and you're grateful and you're just having fun.
I mean that's kind of what took me back when I was kind of looking at all these videos on TikTok, because it actually is what it used to be in the 2000. This is how you get him to propose in 6 months.
Right.
Now it's just in a video format,
Yes,
with
true.
someone who's speaking to you. But I see it replaying again. So I guess that's what kind of, I love that you said that, because that's what caught my attention. I'm like, I feel like I've seen this before.
Yeah,
Why are we doing this again?
A lot of it is recycled content, but I don't think that it's helpful. Like if there was one listicle to end it all, then we would all have identified it by now. And that's because it doesn't work.
Well, that's why I was thinking, for the younger generation, when they're going out to dates and they are constantly connected on their phone, getting all this information, following all these theories, you walk into a date, you sit down in front of in front of the guy, but you already have so many things going on in your head.
Totally.
You're like looking for what to be like.
You're like, oh, he did this, he did that.
He's a bulldog or a Rottweiler, whatever.
Yes,
what was it
exactly.
again? One of those.
Yeah.
There's like you're looking for things
totally
to happen.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're now walking into situations way more just like I'm here to have fun and that's it?
Yeah, I always do. I really do. Whether I'm on a date or I'm in, going to hang out with a group of people, I'm like, does this make me feel good? Are these like people elevating my vibration?
Mm-hmm.
Is this fun? What are we talking about? That's
what are some of the biggest lessons you've learned that you would bring to your next relationship?
Oh my gosh.
About yourself or about the world?
I feel like I'm getting closer. That's the other thing is I feel like a lot of people when they have breakups, they think, oh no, like another failed relationship, but I don't feel that way. I'm like, I'm getting closer. Like I know more information. I'm one step closer to meeting the right person. So I feel like with every relationship, I've learned so much about what I like, what I don't like. And I'm trying to think of a lesson. I don't know. I think I'm perfect, so I'm just kidding.
Good for you.
No.
You reached the pinnacle point.
No, I have a lot. I don't know. I think for me, I'll give you one. Something that will be really interesting in my next relationship is like whether I share him on social media or not. Because with my last boyfriend, I didn't. And it actually caused like some issues in our relationship. But I felt like if I shared him on social, it would cause even more issues. But I haven't actually worked out the answer yet. I don't know the lesson. For me, my take is like, I like to keep that area somewhat private, but then I do talk about my boyfriends always, so it's kind of confusing to my community. So I don't know. I'm still working that one out, but it's something that I'm thinking about.
I feel like meeting your community is like meeting the parents.
It's truly.
So you truly have to work your way to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So whoever's going to be your next relationship, they'll know that's going to be a turning point.
They gotta work for it. Exactly.
What do you agree with this statement? Good relationships don't feel good, but I'll tell you why. Because you have to face yourself more in a healthy relationship. So it's more like a mirror because you want to be the best version of yourself with that person. And you really have to kind of deal with your own problems rather than focusing your energy on trying to fix theirs.
I definitely believe you shouldn't try to fix anybody else. You can't do that. You should try to encourage people to be the best version of themselves, but don't try to fix people. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know. I kind of think good relationships should feel good. Yeah.
That statement is, I feel that was a sensational video hook.
I feel like that's not true. I think that work, well, first of all, I believe everybody should be working on themselves, doing self-work, going to therapy, doing the journaling and whatnot. And I think that good relationships shouldn't feel so good that you're like, I want to work on myself more. Like that to me is kind of how it should work. I don't think it should feel hard and like a mirror. That's kind of intense.
Yeah, I think hard is definitely not the right word, but I am very surprised to still learn how many things I still want to improve about myself for my husband.
Yeah, I love that though.
Yeah. And it's been so long that you just assume that the kinks are all worked out in the beginning.
Right.
But so when these things appear in a long-term relationship, I think that a lot of these things people take as a sign that something is wrong.
No, I think
I find that it's actually
it's the opposite. Yeah, it's great. It's encouraging you to evolve and grow, and like you feel safe in your relationship, so you're able to do that.
I posted on my socials just to send some questions our way.
Oh yeah.
So we do have some.
Amazing.
How can you tell it's time to pull the plug on a relationship if you're not fully attracted to them? Will attraction grow?
A relationship is a big word, so I wonder if it's like
I wonder if they mean like
term?
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like they're at the beginning, right? Because will attraction grow? I think if you're 3 months in and you're not attracted to them. I mean, I don't like to put a time on things because like everybody's different and everybody falls differently. But I think if you're going on several dates with them, like you're sleeping with them, you're seeing them consistently, and you're not like goo goo gaga for them, you got to cut it.
I agree.
100%.
I feel like if it starts there, then it's going to be a harder battle.
Yeah.
How can you politely let your partner know that your love language is receiving gifts and that you want them to act on that?
You politely say, my love language is receiving gifts.
Yeah, you should say, do the, or be like, let's do the, or be like, what's your love language? I know mine. And hopefully they'll be like, oh my God, what is it? And you can say, it's gift giving. Like, I love getting little stuff from you. It doesn't have to be big. It could be like a little treat, just to know, lets me know that you're thinking about me.
And I feel like most people have like 2 love languages.
Yeah.
So you can kind of combine it with another one. But Celine let me know that her love language is gifts, and
oh, there you go.
It didn't register with me.
Did I?
Yes, because you're looking at me now. I'm like,
no. I mean, you know what my love language is, but you don't accept it. So that's fine.
Yeah. No, I love it for you.
Okay, I was raised very religious and conservative, but I no longer identify with that lifestyle. What do you think would be the best way to start exploring my sexual needs and wants?
Buying a vibrator, maybe, so you can like explore self-love, because if you haven't been with another person, then maybe that's like a big step and you're, apprehensive to do that. So I think exploring your sexuality by yourself could be great. I think there's like incredible resources online. There's a book called Come As You Are, which is about the female orgasm and how complicated sexuality is. And that would be maybe like an interesting way into it. And then eventually you should start dating and seeing how you go.
Yeah, I feel like activating that like sensuality.
Yeah.
And I'm saying specifically sensuality because it can be all senses. It doesn't necessarily have to be this like, go straight to your vagina. Like learning what makes you feel a certain way. And I think understanding that is beautiful. There's another book called Pussy by Mama Gina.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So I think just like diving into understanding the works of your body and what feels good to you.
How to deal with loneliness in your 20s when you're not in a relationship and don't have close friends?
I mean, I definitely think that building friendships in your 20s is extremely important.
Totally. I think that would be definitely where I would go first, is to get some friendships in your life. And that can be difficult, but it is of the utmost priority that you start to build those. And you can start small. You can, any sort of community, like a workout class, a run club. If you have like one person you like at work, to just say to them, hey, like, what are you doing this weekend? I'm like new here, or I don't know, whatever. Can we do something together? You just need one person you kind of like, and then that makes more friends. But I would definitely try to have some sort of community in your life, because we all need that. We are pack animals.
Did you have difficulty with building friendships at a certain point in your life?
So I never have. That's always been something that I find really fun and easy. But I will say for anybody listening out there, that is one of the most common questions that I get on my show is like how to make friends. Like I'm feeling very lonely. Again, Scott Galloway speaks to a loneliness epidemic. So you are not alone. This is a problem that everybody's experiencing. It's with, cities being us all living in these big cities, our crazy work grinds that we're all on, and then you combine that with the phone and the fact that we have an app for everything so you never have to leave your house. Oh, here's another thing. Leave your house, okay? I know Gen Z, especially, everyone is like, I have social anxiety. We all have social anxiety. I know that. If you are lonely, you need to leave your house. Even if you go on a walk to get your coffee instead of Uber Eatsing it, that is good, okay? You're going to see people. You're going to wave to the guy. You're going to talk to the barista for a second. Leave your house. You want to get groceries? Go do it in person. Don't do Instacart today. Go see the people in the grocery store. Smile at someone. We are literally pack animals, and we have condensed our lives to these like tiny apartments. And then we're like, I wonder why I'm lonely and depressed. It's like, I have a guess.
Absolutely. That's so important. I think that just physically being around people is enough to make you like open up a little bit more.
Totally.
I think also the pandemic, I know it feels like it was 100 years ago, but there is still that, lingering feeling of isolation.
1,000%.
Right? The way we work is different. Like it impacted so many areas of our lives. So I agree. We used to have just more concrete kind of communities around, if it was at work, if it was at schools, whatever. Now with, I feel like the technology and progression, it creates freedom where you can work and study from anywhere, but it also doesn't give you those roots.
Exactly.
I'm 30 years old and single, and I feel like time is running out. Should I just compromise and be less picky?
30 years old.
So young. I don't know. No.
I want to know who established the timeline.
I know. It's scarcity mindset. Don't worry about it. 30 is so young. Like it really is. And you shouldn't sacrifice your standards because you will just be unhappy. You'll be happy for a split second, then you get a boyfriend and you're like, oh, I have a boyfriend, and then you hate him. Like that's silly.
Yeah. Let's think long term.
Yeah.
I have a lot of relationship trauma and baggage because of my parents cheating on each other and going through a nasty divorce. I have a new and stable relationship, but I'm already feeling anxious about it. What should I do?
I think go to therapy. It's so important. I really believe in therapy, that everybody should have someone to talk to, and you have to work through that. I love the mantra, speak from the scar, not from the wound, meaning like the things that happen to us we can never get rid of, but you have to live from a healed place so that you don't, affect your current relationship. You have to heal that trauma.
I think it's also beautiful to see that the awareness is already there. That's already half the battle, if you ask me, right?
100%.
So the fact that she's able to recognize you're there, and I think therapy, absolutely, just keeping yourself accountable and talking about it with someone will continue to unravel all those lessons.
What are your non-negotiables in relationships?
Kind, ambitious, funny.
Kind, ambitious, funny.
Don't take themselves too seriously.
That's so important.
That's really important for me.
I agree. I think for me was like confidence is very important for me. Security. There's nothing that scares me more than an insecure man.
I always say that too. That is my big. Okay, I always say that to my girls. I'm like, there's nothing scarier than an insecure man.
Yeah.
Like literally scary.
Because you don't know what to expect, you know? So to me, that's extremely important. I think generosity in a man is a non-negotiable. And again, that doesn't mean with gifts, but just like the way he moves in the world.
1,000%.
Extremely important. And kindness, definitely.
My boyfriend and I are currently struggling with our very different sex drives. I'm not feeling satisfied, but I don't want to hurt his feelings by telling him. What should I do?
Damn. I feel like we need to have a sex therapist on here right now.
I know.
I think that's, I do find that it's kind of common, especially in long-term relationships.
Yeah.
Because you go through the motions, like everyone's going through, and especially for women, I think that's something that I've learned, that we do need to learn how to communicate our needs.
So true.
So even the fact that, it's mentioned that she's scared to hurt his feelings, he doesn't know what he doesn't know.
Yeah, it's so true. She should just talk to him and be like,
Yeah.
hey, just be honest.
I think that the goal is probably the same for both of them. So I think communication here is extremely important.
Mm-hmm.
My partner and I have been together for over 10 years. He is very stubborn and has told me that he will never change anything about himself and refuses to understand my point of view if it's different than his. But he is always asking me to change things about myself. We've also gotten into a habit of joking about breaking up in a cute way, but we never actually do. Should I stay in this relationship? I really do love him.
I mean, no, like that sounds terrible.
What is love for this person? I think that's like where you start. What is love to you? Because to me, that's not love.
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, if you're always fighting and, he wants you to change things about yourself, but it won't do any work on himself, that sounds like a really bad holding pattern to be in.
You see, so we're kind of going back to like, what are your non-negotiables? So for me, that scenario breaks two of my non-negotiables.
Yeah.
So definitely, that's, I think, the beauty of women taking their time, especially in their 20s, to figure out what's important for them.
So true.
Because then those scenarios, when they show up earlier on in the relationship, you're able to identify.
Like, okay, this isn't for me. It's not that deep. It's just not a match.
I recently took a job that has me now making more money than my boyfriend, and I feel insecure and guilty about it. Is this normal?
I think sadly it is the norm, but you shouldn't feel that way. Like, it's normal that you're feeling that way, but we have to try and change this bit by bit. And if he's the right person for you, he'll be super proud of you and excited for you.
Yeah. And I think that needs to be a conversation as well.
Yeah.
Is it something that's bothering him, or is it something that you are bothered by?
Are you projecting?
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
100%.
And those are two completely different scenarios. So asking the question will be a great way to start.
And I always expect the guy to pay on the first date, but some don't naturally offer. How can I tell them nicely about what I expect from them without sounding like a bitch?
Okay, this is actually interesting. How would you behave in a scenario where you're out on a date and a check comes and
he doesn't move?
He doesn't move.
I would be like, "Do you want to split it?" And then I would never speak to him again. Like, okay, if you really, that's fine. I would just be like, "Okay, let's split it."
Right.
And then I'd be like, "We're good."
So you would not try, because you feel like
I'm not their mommy and I'm not their therapist, and like, it's
right, you're not trying to like teach a lesson.
I'm not potty training anybody. No,
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, that I think is a great. I never had that experience, so that you see, I don't have the answer, but I think that's beautiful. Okay, amazing. Do you think we help to save the world or what?
Definitely.
Okay, great. Thanks. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
That was so fun chatting.
Thank you so much for watching this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't miss my newest episode right here. And if you're listening to the podcast on Apple or Spotify, please go and leave a review with your biggest takeaway. I love reading your thoughts. And if you have any suggestions for guests or topics, you can leave them in the comment section. And always remember, you are not alone.